One of the examples of the mismanagement of Doctor Who, and a clear indication that this franchise is now more about ideology than actually turning a profit, as manifested recently. While the main series doesn't really have to worry about turning a profit to the same extent as other Who media, thanks to UK viewers being held hostage by the license fee, other media may not end up being so fortunate. Only time will tell. What I'm referring to is the rebranding of all Doctor Who under the Series 11 logo, which, not surprisingly, I think is a major mistake. One thing that I won't be discussing in the video is any possible symbols within the logo itself. I still stand by my video on that subject, even though it is by far my least popular Doctor Who related video. You are fully within your right to disagree with me as long as you aren't acting like a moron and keep the argument to the video in question. Also, for any third-wave feminists and SJW YouTubers out there, notice how, even though many people did not agree with me, the comments are still open and you can still see the ratings. Are you listening, Feminist Frequency? Oh well, nobody really cares about Anita anymore anyway. Even though I despise this logo, I fully accept that Chris Chibnall has the right to use any logo he wants for his version of Doctor Who. I haven't really cared much for what's gone on with the show since 2015 anyway, so the logo itself doesn't have much of an impact on my impression of current Who anyway. I also don't have a problem with Doctor Who magazine using it either. It seems to be turning into a social justice nightmare anyway, so who really cares about DWM at this point? Each era of New Who has had its own distinctive logo. I think the RTD era was probably the best, and the Moffat era logo, or logos if you take into account the change for the Capaldi series, was okay. Then there's the Chibnall era logo. Let's pretend it's 2014. You know, that time when many of us were deluded into thinking that a new golden era was about to begin. Had this logo been used for Series 8, which in my opinion was the last good series of Doctor Who, I wouldn't have liked it then either. I'm sorry, it's just a weak looking logo. My opinion, of course. Furthermore, as much as I liked Series 8 when it was airing, although I also think it's aged horribly because of what came after it, you know, kind of like how The Last Jedi destroyed The Force Awakens, I didn't hide my absolute hatred for the theme music. It sounded like a cat being tortured by a theremin. Don't believe me? Well, I made a video about it back in 2014. My point is, you can't say that I'm oppressing the Chibnall era because I don't like the logo. I've criticized other elements of the show that I haven't liked in the past. Since the late 1990s, the official branded logo for Classic Who has been the logo from the 1996 TV movie, which is actually the Jon Pertwee logo, only in a different color. I don't think many people ever really had a problem with this. Aesthetically, it's my second favorite Doctor Who logo, after the diamond logo from the 1970s. There is a certain timeless quality to this logo. It worked perfectly fine in the 70s and in the 90s. It's also generally non-controversial. While yes, many people didn't like the 96 movie, this is still the Pertwee era logo, and I've always personally associated it with that era. I would argue that the Jon Pertwee and Tom Baker eras, and perhaps the Patrick Troughton eras, are almost universally loved amongst fans of the classic series. Please note, I said almost. So, for 22 years, this was the accepted logo for Classic Who. If you read the classic novels during this period, there was a good chance this logo would be on the cover. It was also the logo for the final 6 years or so of the VHS range. In this case, however, it might have been easier to leave well enough alone. While the cases looked awesome, they clashed with earlier releases. The first Big Finish Doctor Who audios came out in 1999, and they also used this logo. While the covers went through several redesigns over the years, the 1970s 96 logo remained constant. This was also the logo for the DVD range. The Pertwee McGann logo was also used for the entire DVD range in all regions. While I liked the Region 2 releases, I think the Region 1 release template was the best looking overall. If you look back at my old videos, you'll see that I covered the releases as they came out over the years. In fact, my Classic Who DVD collection was probably the central focus of this channel between 2009 and 2013. I bought all the Region 1 releases as they came out, beginning with the first 3 in 2001. I have so many happy memories associated with collecting those DVDs, which came out in random order. For many of us, we got to live the classic series all over again. The Doctor Who restoration team did outstanding work with bringing these classics back to life, and the extras were better than any other TV on DVD release I've ever seen. So, what happened in 2017-2018? Well, let's take a look at this in context. Whatever you think of the 13th Doctor, you're deluding yourself if you think this decision hasn't been controversial. Furthermore, the way some of those directly connected with the show have treated fans has probably done permanent damage to the Doctor Who brand. Just look at how well this type of behavior has turned out for Star Wars. This fall should be interesting. I've followed the situation very closely since the announcement was made last summer. And I can say pretty much for a fact that those who are most pissed off are classic Who fans. Not all of them, but probably a majority. Many classic fans were never really fans of New Who to begin with. There has always been a divide to a certain extent. I wasn't part of this divide myself until 2017, although Doctor Who has been leaving a distinctly bad taste in my mouth since Series 9. But even though I loved New Who for its first 8 series, I still viewed the DVD and Big Finish releases as separate. For many, this was a way to enjoy the classic series alongside, but separate from the current televised series. For many who hated New Who, they could be happy that both Big Finish and the DVD range were almost entirely divested of New Who. Indeed, Big Finish couldn't cover any elements of New Who. But then, things changed, as all things do. The DVD range came to an end with its final regular release in 2014, one holdover in 2016, one animated release in 2017, and another in 2018. Big Finish acquired the rights to use New Who events and characters in 2015, and the overall aesthetic of the releases started to change as a result. While I was a Big Finish subscriber for many years, I only check out the occasional release now. I think it's a big mistake to include Big Finish and the DVD Blu-ray range in Doctor Who's universal rebranding. Like it or not, the largest consumers of both these mediums are classic Who fans. Those that, many of which anyway, are not happy with the new series at the moment. To Big Finish's credit, they do include alternate artwork on the CD releases that feature the logos from the eras represented by the stories in question. The primary branding, however, is still the Series 11 logo. Then there was the Series 12 Blu-ray remaster. What the hell is this logo doing on a release from the Tom Baker era? The Hinchcliffe Holmes era. This was the golden era of Doctor Who. The best the show has ever been and ever will be. This era is so far removed from the garbage that we've been served up since 2015 that it's actually absurd. I'm sure many people may have been on the fence about buying this release, especially if they had already collected the stories on VHS and later on DVD. If they were also disillusioned with New Who, what kind of impact do you think seeing this logo on the cover made on their decision whether or not to buy it? I can't imagine it was a good one. I, however, did buy the release and already filmed a video about it. I just haven't uploaded it yet. In the end, I think this rebranding is a terrible idea. Big Finish and the possibly resurrected physical media range were something that people who don't like post-Series 8 Who, or New Who in general, could enjoy. You know, the type of Who that hasn't been touched by current controversies. The Series 11 logo is a physical manifestation and representation of an era that has divided the fandom. An era that will probably see Doctor Who go down in the same way that Star Wars went down. I will still collect the classic series Blu-rays as they come out, and will probably continue to pick up the occasional Big Finish release. At least with Big Finish, I can keep the alternate artwork and just delete the officially branded one. The Blu-rays, however, well, I guess they'll just have to sit awkwardly on the shelf. And that's it for today. So as always, everyone, thank you for watching, and have a good day.